than $30 million to secure said top class through name, image, and likeness deals. Amazing that they have spent $25 to $30 million to secure this class. Now, the NCAA has got to step in and do something.
Oh, they will. They've got to regulate it. There's no doubt about it because it's almost like the NFL and just offering the most money. They do have great facilities there. No question about it. They've spent big money even before this NIL situation on the facilities. But the bottom line is they're an 8-4 program who hasn't won anything since the 30s. And so they are in a great league. But again, I do think that that this is what's going to lead to some sort of regulation, streamlining, whatever you want to talk about. With name, image, and likeness, because really they're not supposed to sign these deals beforehand anyway, and because that basically they're already got handshake deals, and the kids haven't even played it down for NIL. So again, there's a lot of gray areas. You still have to go out and win games. You still have to be able to put a roster together, and you still have to be able to manage said roster and actually coach. I'm not a big Jimbo guy. I don't think he's an elite coach. I don't think, I know he won a national championship, but even the sun shines on a dog's ass one day if everything lines up for you. But again, just like under Gene Chizik and Ed Ogeron, those two guys weren't great head coaches by any stretch of the imagination. But, I do think it's going to lead to some sort of, stipulations and some sort of – just like what we talked about on the show, with Texas, paying all their offensive linemen $50,000 before they've even ever taken a snap.
Yeah.
Eventually, there's going to be some changes to this stuff.
Here is how it's supposed to play out in College Station going forward.
Right.
A recruit is targeted for a specific recruiting class, hence this one here to sign the top class. A point donor then heads the recruiting effort. The point donor gathers other donors around him. Those donors create a LLC. The LLC sponsors the targeted recruit, pays out deals for NIL if and when he enrolls. That recruit, upon arrival on campus, receives money from said LLC. In turn, the recruit promotes the LLC and its cause, whether that be a charity or a business. Mm-hmm. That is how Texas A&M is proceeding with their name, image, and likeness, and have spent $25 to $30 million to secure the top recruiting class in the country.
Yeah, I mean, it's right now that it's the Wild West, man. And then with the transfer portal, like Bill O'Brien said yesterday when he spoke to the media, first time we've heard from Coach B.O.B. Since the preseason, he said, this transfer portal is almost like free agency. And I'm going to let Nick Saban handle that. And so it's interesting because Auburn has already lined up a bunch of visitors because this week is the first week that these young people can visit officially, where you can set it up. And Zach Calzada, ironically, who beat Alabama, the only quarterback to beat Alabama so far this year, is visiting Auburn. It looks like Auburn – I was – talking about Keaton Slovis and saying, maybe Auburn should target him. But it looks like Brian Harsin and his staff are targeting Zach Calzada to bring in to compete with T.J. Finley for the open Auburn quarterback job. And it's very much open, because Finley did not, I would say, separate himself or play well enough in the Birmingham Bowl, and I'm still going to call it that. I know they got a different sponsor, but in the bowl game against Houston to, I think, ease concerns that he's the answer.
All right. We'll talk more. Let's talk more on this transfer portal. 256-576-4977. Your thoughts on name, image, and likeness. Do you like where it's headed? Do you like the fact that schools can put together war chests and sign the best recruiting classes in the country, a la NFL free agency or NFL whatever, and if your school has the money, you can almost guarantee a top class?
Well, here's the deal. I know they got Walter Nolan talking about Texas A&M from Powell High School in Knoxville, and he had moved to 3 different high schools before, they secure him in the class. And they may get Shamar Stewart. He will not sign until this February period. He's a top 5 player from Miami. But the biggest thing that I think was to A&M's advantage, though, it still comes down to your backyard, and it was a really good year in the city of Houston and the state of Texas. We all know the Longhorns had a worse year than A&M. They did not play well after that just debacle against Oklahoma, and they still had a good recruiting class under Steve Sarkisian. Let's not misunderstand. But I think in a lot of it too with Texas A&M was everything aligned perfectly. And remember, they were selling recruits on the fact that they missed the college football playoff by 1 game the year before when Alabama destroyed them in a head-to-head matchup in Tuscaloosa. Then they were able to use the momentum early in the season of beating Alabama to sell this to these recruits, even though the rest of the season, as we know, they threw up all over themselves and fell on their face.
Let's get out to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Richard's with us this morning. Good morning, Richard.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Richard.
Name, image, and likeness. One thing is the NCAA should have basically been setting rules 2 years ago instead of fighting it in court.
Right.
They knew they were going to lose, and so you should have just accepted it and set up rules about it had to be, mainly, basically an outside party, not a booster.
Right.
And you're not going to limit what people could get, like a Bryce Young. Due to how good he is going to get a lot of money, but some third-string offensive lineman for Texas A&M, unfortunately, should get 0.
Yeah, that's the thing. These recruits that are coming in, yes, they are good recruits, but we've seen a lot of it, and we've seen a lot of it over college football. That doesn't. If you are a 5-star recruit, doesn't mean you're going to be a phenomenal football player. We've seen 5 stars come and flop and leave and transfer around and bounce around and not play sometimes. There's no guarantee like you're going to be great, a la even Spencer Rattler.
One thing is you have to think about, though, is like, one of these guys gets a good deal, say Texas A&M, they're 4th string, they may get more money to leave. I don't want to lose my scholarship. I'm making this money. Okay, we'll double it to get you to transfer because they need the scholarship spot. Some of these guys may make more money by leaving.
Well,
You can only sign, 25 to, I guess you say, or 32 with transfers, but you can only sign a limited number. You can only have 85 on scholarship, and you can't once you're on scholarship, you can't lose it and still play at the school.
That's very true. That's very true, Richard. And I know you heard Scott talk about it on Zone Center, but a big win for Alabama. I thought it was their best defensive half of the season last night as they beat the Gators 83-70 on the road to go to 2-0 in the SEC.
Yeah, great game. Actually, I was going to go see Brandon Miller play up in Nashville tonight, the recruit, but it looks like it's going to snow up in Nashville, so I'm going to put my trip off, I think. So I was going to meet a couple of my Nashville buddies, but I think I'm going to take a rain check. They're supposed to get some snow up in Nashville, so
right
out. It looked really, especially defensively, and even had some. I'm not a referee, abuser there, but pretty questionable calls the second half. On the game, so we could have actually scored more.
Yeah, there were some 50-50 calls that didn't go Alabama's way. That's to be expected on the road, though. I will say this, as we have you on this show this morning, I know you went to Indianapolis for the Final Four last year. We're headed up that way, hopefully, to cover the national championship game. And I know we're in a Facebook group. You had a very interesting restaurant you said we should frequent that I'm sure Scott's been doing a lot of research on this. But let the listeners know about this interesting situation with the real-life Hoosiers. I thought that was really cool.
Well, the guy's named Bobby Plump was basically, I guess, the one,
Jimmy Chitwood.
Jimmy Chitwood at a Milan High School, but, it was played at Hinkle Fieldhouse, but he owns a bar and restaurant in Indianapolis. He's still alive. And, and they'll, interview him and, because he played at Butler.
Yes.
Later on, and I guess so. But he owns a bar and restaurant in Plump's Last Shot.
Nice.
In Indianapolis. So I should have gone there before because I used to live in Chicago, and all our relatives are in Alabama, so I drove through Indianapolis all the time. I should have stopped. Actually, I did drive through Milan one day. My son was kind of looking at me like I was a nut. But we did take a side trip through Milan one day, though. Pretty small town, but yeah, a good. I'm sure they got some of the mementos in there in the bar and restaurant because you guys are going to be there several days, and get some. Scott can go back to freezing again, so he'll enjoy it. So.
Yeah, I looked at the temperatures up there.
Yeah, I did too.
They're going to be
frigid.
They're going to be a little cold.
Hey, actually, you go to Iowa, Wisconsin tonight, Scott. So there are many good games on the night, but you got Iowa going into the Kohl Center.
Yeah,
tonight,
and
so.
Keegan Murray has definitely stepped his game up a little bit, taking after his father, Kenyon Murray, from the late great Tom Davis days.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And that's Kenyon Murray's son. His other son is part of the team as well. So
You got McCaffrey. You got a couple of boys on the team, doesn't
Yeah.
you? One or two or three,
Yep.
or
Yeah.
So I guess it's just kind of like the football. You heard your son is the offensive coordinator, and you just keep getting relatives on there.
yeah, we're all one big happy family when it comes to the University of Iowa athletics. I mean, it's if you got family members, just sign them.
See what you guys worked hard the other day. I went and caught a couple of the games the other day at the high school tournament. I saw you guys down there working. So,
Yeah, it was a fun time. Fun time.
Yeah.
Drew looked good with that zebra shirt on. I just thought, that was a referee.
Yeah, it had to be the official book. So when you do that, and according to AHSAA rules, man, you got to have the jersey. So that's pretty much what I had to wear all day.
I figured somebody would be yelling at you over there, screwing up the books or something. So.
Well, we had a technical in the first game. Then we got through the rest of it unscathed.
That was a good event. I mean, I had never been before. I mean, I was amazed.
Oh, wow, really?
There.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really good basketball every year. We were really proud of it, and we had another great tournament this year. Congrats to Jamie Coggins and the Sparkman Senators. And area play going to start this Friday for a lot of those schools, and started for some of these smaller classifications on Tuesday. So a lot of important basketball being played. Hopefully the weather's going to hold off and not interfere with any of it.
Yep, like I said, we need to. I guess we may get a little snow today, or a little north of here anyway. So
Yeah, it looks that way.
well, roll tide, guys, and see you later.
Thank you, Richard.
All right, Richard joining us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline, 256-576-4977. That's the opportunity for you to get in on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. And as we were talking to Richard, yes, SEC basketball in the books from last night as well. Not as a busy night as it was the other night, but there was some SEC basketball to be played. Alabama, 15th-ranked Alabama on the road at Florida last night. And the Tide do get a win, 83-70. All five starters score in double figures. Tennessee over Ole Miss last night, 66-60. That's your only other SEC basketball game on the hardwood.
Yeah, and the interesting part about that one, with our good friend Kermit Davis, the head coach of the Rebels, they took that game to OT. The Rebels really played well and pushed Tennessee in Knoxville, so that was interesting. The Missouri-Mississippi State game, though, Scott, was postponed and was not played.
Yeah, that was so. But Alabama on the road last night. What, about 11 minutes there? I think they held Florida without a field goal.
Yeah, they did. They came out of the locker room. They were down 39-36 at halftime. And then, it was a nip and tuck, back and forth. It was 43-42. The Tide had a 1-point lead, and then they went on like a 14-0 run and was able to get up. I believe it was 58-43. May have been the biggest lead that Alabama had, Scott. But Florida was only able to trim it. I think the closest the Gators got was 5 points, and then Alabama pulled away later in the second half. But, as you talked about on Zone Center, you were telling the listeners 5 in double figures for Alabama, led by the 19 of Juwan Gary, who had some big buckets down the stretch to kind of, keep Alabama within, in the lead solidly and keep Florida at arm's length. A couple of big finishes. Javon Quinterly with 19 as well, and some key assists late. Attacking the rim against the Gators. It was a really good second-half performance. They outscored Florida by 16 and really, I thought, played, as I was telling Richard, their best defense of the season considering what was at stake. Now, I don't know that this Gator team is a top 4 or 5 team in the SEC, but they have Colin Castleton, who's a very solid big man, some very solid perimeter players. Really, the one guy that gave Alabama trouble last night in the second half was Myrion Jones. We talked about him. He's from Huffman in Birmingham. Ended up playing his first 3 years at Penn State and now is a Florida Gator. And his three-point shooting really gave Alabama some issues and kept Florida in the game. But the Tide with an impressive win on the road. We're going to talk to John Schulman at the top of the second hour, and you know what he says. It's like heaven when you can go on the road and beat a team. And so Alabama gets a road win. Now have a chance to get 2. Hopefully Missouri is going to get these COVID concerns in the rearview mirror and be able to play Alabama on Saturday afternoon. But Missouri's struggling a little bit. They're 6-7. And so Alabama's got a chance to get another big road win because certainly their next home game is going to be difficult because arguably the best team in the SEC is the Auburn Tigers. The 2 best teams, Alabama and Auburn, and they're going to hook up on Tuesday night in Tuscaloosa.
It's the way it should be, though. When you're talking about basketball in this state, and it's great right now to have both Auburn and Alabama sitting where they're at. Alabama will potentially move up maybe a spot or 2 in the AP poll. Mm-hmm. Auburn
in
maybe
the top 10,
stay out there. They're inside the top 10 now. They won't fall out of the top 10.
Not at all, no.
So, I mean, you're talking about next week, this matchup inside Coleman Coliseum. I mean, the atmospheres have been good inside Coleman this year. Obviously, they've been great at Auburn as well. But no doubt it'll be the epicenter of college basketball in the country that night. When both of those play, both Alabama and Auburn play, it won't be the epicenter in the state. It'll be the epicenter for college basketball in the country that night, and that is not something
to be taken
we
lightly.
Have said a lot of in the last, 5-10 years when it comes to college basketball in this state.
Well, a long time. Maybe even the salad days of Sonny Smith and Wimp Sanderson. So this is a great golden era of basketball, what Bruce Pearl's doing and how he retooled his team in the transfer portal. Total credit to them. Walker Kessler, outstanding. Recruiting Jabari Smith, who is going to be a top, probably 3 pick in the NBA draft coming up in the summer. I mean, and then don't forget Wendell Green from Eastern Kentucky. He's coming off the bench right now, but doing an outstanding job for Auburn. Auburn's got a lot of depth, man. They've got 10 or 11 guys that can play, especially now they've got Allen Flanagan back. Now, he didn't play in the last game. I think he may have had some COVID concerns, but certainly he should be back for Alabama. And so this is an Auburn team that has a lot of depth, and really their bench was the key the other night to hammering South Carolina, much like Alabama hammered Florida on the road. So both Alabama and Auburn getting impressive road wins in the SEC.
All right, 7:21. Let's get our first break in. When we come back, we're going to talk more college football talk. We're going to check in with Jamison Williams and Bill O'Brien. Both spoke to the media yesterday.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Everybody's doing a great job this morning. No wrecks, no stalls, no traffic signal problems to report to you. You be careful. Put some extra room in there so you got somewhere to go if something does go wrong. Officers, construction workers, and first responders put their lives on the line every time they step on the roadway. Why not make it safer for them? Move over. It's the law, you know. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
The rematch. Enough said.
Touchdown!
It's the Crimson Tide versus the Georgia Bulldogs for the national championship. Live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Our coverage begins at 4. Join us Monday.
Roll Tide, baby. Here we go.
The quest for number 19 can be heard right here on your home for Bama football.
Listen to Alabama football all season long on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Saving at the Home Depot means you can do more for less. Like making your laundry and life easier with an LG wash tower that automatically detects fabric texture and load size. Enjoy savings on top-rated appliances online, in-store, or on the Home Depot app. The Home Depot. How doers get more done. U.S. only while supplies last. Valid 1/6 through 1/26/2022. Free delivery applies to orders of $396 or more.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
Valley Equipment Rental. Pretty self-explanatory name, no? Tom Abraham here. And look, Valley Equipment Rental is all over the Tennessee Valley. And they rent equipment. All kinds of equipment. And not just to the contractors out there, but to you, the general public as well. Need a skid steer or an excavator? Well, they've got over 40 units to make sure they've got one for you. From huge boom lifts to miscellaneous hand tools, it's at Valley Equipment Rental on the South Parkway. And soon, they'll have a second location to handle even more equipment. More on that to come.
This is Wes Neighbors talking to Chris Haygood of Bob Wallace Appliance. Chris, what sets you apart from other appliance dealerships?
Wes, these appliances are going into the most used room in your house, your kitchen. The way we have these appliances displayed, it's easy for you to visualize how they'll look in your home. Wes, what sets us apart is the people. They're well trained. In fact, they live and breathe these appliances. And if you need service, you'll really appreciate our parts department.
Contact Bob Wallace Appliance at 256-533-2121.
SportsMed is the official team physicians of the Rocket City Trash Pandas. And if the pros trust SportsMed, you can too. SportsMed provides every service you might need for complete orthopedic care, specializing in orthopedic surgery, sports medicine, joint replacement, spine surgery, neurosurgery, and podiatry. And they offer their own brace shop, in-house full-body MRI, physical therapy, walk-in clinic, and so much more. 4 locations and on the web at sportsmedalabama.com.
Leaving his mark on sports talk radio with a paddle.
Thank you, sir. May I have another?
Join Wes Neighbors weekday afternoons on The Drive, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
This is Steve Moulton from The Drive. Join us this afternoon from 5 to 7 with Wes Neighbors and me. Now back to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talkin Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the show this morning. And yes, I know how you feel about spring football leagues. But the USFL is getting ready to start. Yeah. And there is a team being played in Birmingham, as well as the South Division. Or I don't know what division it is, but it's Birmingham, Houston, Tampa, and New Orleans. That's the division that goes. They have announced their head coaches. And I bring this up because it has a heavy SEC feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
The head coach of the Birmingham squad will be
the Birmingham Stallions, yeah.
Gene Chizik.
Interesting.
The head coach of the Houston squad will be Kevin Sumlin.
Huh. They'll definitely lose.
The head coach of Tampa will be Todd Haley.
Huh.
And New Orleans is Bart Andrews or whatever. But anyway, Gene Chizik, the head coach of the Birmingham Stallions.
Yeah, there you go. Some ties to the state of Alabama. He's a longtime DC on the college level. I don't think he has any pro coaching experience, but again, this isn't going to be the greatest pro football you ever saw. I can pretty much guarantee you that. So, but good luck to the Birmingham Stallions. Good luck to Coach Chizik. He's been a friend of the station. And so, interesting hire by Birmingham.
And then Kevin Sumlin at Houston, dusting off his last job, what was Arizona? I mean, his last head coaching
when
job
he got
was
fired
Arizona.
And, was paid a hefty sum to go away again. So, he is a great offensive mind to a degree. But you can guarantee they won't be any good on defense and be able to stop anybody. So, going to be interesting to see how the USFL does and And I mean, it's going to be basically headquartered in Birmingham.
All the games are played in Birmingham, I believe,
which
as
is
well.
Hard for me to get my head around on that. I mean, why the hell are you saying, Houston Gamblers and all these other franchises? They're not in Houston. Everybody's in Birmingham. I mean, whatever. I hate it. Whatever. It's not going to work. It's going to flop.
Though.
It's going to flop. It's not going to work. It'll just be more wasted money flushed down a toilet. Whatever. They just keep trying and keep failing.
Oh. Auburn did receive some good news as far as their wide receiver room goes. Shedrick Jackson did announce that he will return for his 5th season for the Auburn Tigers.
He had a good year. I mean, for them, he was solid. He's a guy that blocks. He made some difficult catches. We all know he's the nephew of Bo Jackson, former Hoover Buck in his own right. So, yeah, I mean, Shedrick coming back, it's a good business move for him. He can try to create some value for himself, to use a Nick Saban term, and certainly Auburn needs him because Kobe Hudson has gone to the transfer portal, their leading receiver. We talked about that earlier in the week. He's moving on. So they had several that have already left. Elijah Canyon, I believe, went into the portal as well. So Auburn going to look much different from a personnel standpoint, besides right now Tank Bigsby and Jarquez Hunter, who look to be returning in the backfield.
All right, so yesterday, and the one good thing, there's plenty of good things, actually, not one good thing. But when it comes to playing in said national championship game, all coordinators are usually made available for both teams to speak to the media. Now, normally what happens is when it comes to the national championship game, if we didn't have any kind of COVID restrictions, these would be in-person press conferences. You would get to visit one-on-one with said coordinator. You get to spend a little time with them. Once you get to championship site, there is a media day where every player, it doesn't matter if they've played a snap, it doesn't matter. They gather around. All the coordinators are there, special team analysts. It doesn't matter. They're all made available. You can sit down. You can visit with them. You can talk to them. This is something that happens normally when it comes to these championship games. It was that way for the BCS National Championship game. It's this way now for the playoffs. But because of COVID, everything is virtual now. And so this year they've gone back to doing virtual stuff. There is no media day in Indianapolis. However, there is a fan center available for the fans to go and do a fan experience, but there is no media day. So yesterday, Bill O'Brien, which we have not heard from since I believe he was introduced or had an opening press conference there at Alabama, we got to hear from him. Here's Bill O'Brien on his first year with the Crimson Tide.
It's been a great experience, Dennis. It's been awesome. We have a lot of great kids to coach. They're hardworking. They love football, great teammates. The coaching staff here, led by Coach Saban, is one of the best coaching staffs I've ever been a part of. And that says a lot because I've been a part of a lot of good coaching staffs. I've been fortunate that way. And it's just been fun. It's been a lot of fun to coach a guy like Bryce and the rest of the guys on offense, work with the offensive staff. I can't say enough about this program. And, I've said it time and time again, how grateful I am to have this opportunity to be here and to try to do my part to help this team win.
How would you assess Bill O'Brien adjusting to, I don't want to say adjusting to the college game because he was a college head coach. He's been there. But his adjustment coming from the NFL to being the Alabama play caller.
Quarterback won the Heisman. Wide receiver Jamison Williams is the best transfer portal addition offensively in college football, arguably. One of the top 2 or 3 anyway. Nearly won the Biletnikoff Award. John Mechie got injured but had 96 catches and nearly 1,200 yards. Tailback's got nearly 1,300 yards, and he sat out a game. The offensive line wasn't great. Wasn't nearly as talented as the group beforehand, but they were still very productive. They've lost one football game. They could have easily won that game. They had a 7-point lead in the fourth quarter, and the defense Could not close the deal, but the defense has improved exponentially since that time. But you can have some issues with some red zone play calling, but my Lord, you can have an issue with any play caller at some point in time. Oh, I would have done this, or I would have done that. That's the easiest thing to do,
right?
Is to question an offensive play caller. But considering what they lost, the NFL Rookie of the Year, in my opinion, Offensive Rookie of the Year anyway, Mac Jones, I'm sure Micah Parsons will be it defensively. But what, Mac has done, what Devontae Smith did winning the Heisman, Jalen Waddle, he's setting rookie records for receptions for the Dolphins with Tua. I mean, all that offensive talent you lost, all the offensive line talent, and yet this Alabama team's playing for a national championship again. They averaged over 40 points per game, and they've had to play through all these injuries because his backfield, especially at running back, has been decimated. A lot of the depth behind Brian Robinson, and even B-Rob's had issues. So with all that said, I would give Bill O'Brien an A. I'm sorry. That's what he's done. I think he's kept it rolling, and now they got a chance to win a national title, and they've already, soundly whipped this Georgia team.
Last year's offensive line was phenomenal. I mean, it was led with a lot of veterans. It was one of those groups where if you're a head coach, you're grinning from ear to ear because you have that offensive line that has that it factor. You take away that production from last year. You take away everything and just basically cross that off. This offensive line was not bad compared to a lot of other offensive lines. This was a good offensive line. It developed as the season went along. Still has a little bit of ups and downs, but if you don't compare it to last year's line, because last year's was just one of those, it's a perfect storm offensive line. It's not a bad line at all.
It's solid. There's some issues on the right side. Right tackle has been the big problem. We've talked about it ad nauseum all year long. They don't have a prototypical right tackle. The left tackle's a first-round pick. He's a high first-round pick, I'll just say. He's going to go high. I still think Javian Cohen's been really solid at left guard,
right,
even for a first-year starter. The big key to this offensive line, and we really haven't talked about it all week, Scott, is they've found a center. Darian Dalcourt kind of took over for Owens early in the season and was good, but McLaughlin has been unreal since they put him in there. And he's, in the second half of the Auburn game to help stabilize things. He played really well against Georgia in Jordan Davis and all that talent up front. I thought he was really solid in the Cotton Bowl, and now he'll get a chance to play against Georgia again. So right now, it's not really been played up enough, I think. But Seth McLaughlin, young player, sophomore from Buford, Georgia, has done a great job. It's almost kind of like, Brian Branch and the way he played at Star. Everybody wants to know, well, where's Malachi Moore? Where's Malachi Moore? Had a great year as a freshman last year in the secondary for Alabama until he got banged up toward the end of his freshman year. He's continued to be a little nicked up this year, but quite frankly, when he's played, he hadn't played at the level of a year ago, and Brian Branch passed him on the depth chart. It's probably the same deal with Seth McLaughlin. I know Dalcourt hurt his ankle, but bottom line is that McLaughlin's played so well. I thought they were going to start Dalcourt and have him on a short leash in the last game, but it's really tough to take McLaughlin out of the lineup when you see how he played against Georgia, and you really couldn't do that. And I think he'll be the starter on Monday night.
All right. Bill O'Brien also talking about the relationship between Nick Saban and Bill Belichick.
And it's a question, that's an obvious question I get a lot. And I actually enjoy the question because I take a lot of pride in the fact that I've been able to work for both guys. I've learned so much from both guys, and you said it, these are two of the best to ever do it. And they're both very similar in some of their philosophical beliefs, hard work, good teammates, trustworthy people around them, uncovering every stone to try to find out, what we can do to try to get an edge in a game or, the way we practice, things like that. And then they're two very different people, and that's just the way it is. And I think that's what's pretty cool is the fact that I've had a chance to be around both of them and work for both of them. And it's something that I'm very grateful for and I'm very proud of.
that is something that you can put on your resume that you've worked for Bill Belichick and Nick Saban, two of the greatest, one on the college level, one on the NFL level.
Well, I mean, to me it is. It's the greatest to ever do it on the pro level, the greatest to ever do it on the college level. And, Bill's been very fortunate. He was a longtime member, Coach O'Brien, of the staffs of Bill Belichick in the NFL. I still think he did a great job at Penn State. His 2 years there isn't given enough credit for that. He certainly didn't end up landing anywhere in college football this year. Could still land somewhere back in the NFL. We'll see. I hope he's in Tuscaloosa again next year for at least one more season. But again, a lot of that's going to depend on the coaching carousel in the National Football League, because what Bill O'Brien can do and what he's proven, even in Houston, of course, he won division titles. But the biggest thing is his work with quarterbacks, Scott. And as you know, it's become so quarterback-centric in the NFL. Many of the head coaches are basically, OCs, so to speak. They've done a great job, the Kevin Stefanskis of the world, the Sean McVays, all these offensive gurus are getting head coaching jobs now. So, and again, Bill O'Brien, I know it didn't end well in Houston when he was given the GM's duties, and that was probably a mistake there. But when you look at the majority of his tenure there, they won football games in Houston. And, if he continues to produce at Alabama like this, or it does it for another season, he's going to get, opportunities to run his own show again. Probably not from a front office perspective, but from a coaching perspective. And so that's just the way it is. That's the formula. That's why, to me, we've talked about Jacksonville and the disaster it was under Urban Meyer.
I wanted to go there because there were reports that came out last week.
Right.
Or actually a few days ago, that the GM of the Jacksonville Jaguars is pushing for Bill O'Brien to be not the head coach, but to be on the list to be interviewed or to be given a shot at an interview to be said coach at Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's likely. He may get an interview. We'll see. To me, the best fit for them, if there's mutual interest there, and there seems to be, would be Doug Peterson, who won a Super Bowl in Philadelphia. I think he did a great job with Carson Wentz, who was kind of in the same point of his career when Doug was there as Trevor Lawrence. There's been people that are being tough on Trevor for his rookie year. Look, man, you can't. I mean, with all the rigmarole and the disaster that was, you can't really judge Trevor Lawrence. I've been I joked on him a lot, being the chosen one and the greatest of all time coming out of college. But he does have the tools. He does have the ability to be an outstanding NFL quarterback.
Right.
You cannot judge him on his rookie year with that trash. You just can't.
Said Urban Meyer trash.
Yeah,
yes.
It was a disaster. The organization sucks. You've got to just start over. You've got to, whether you keep the GM or not, you've got to get a new coaching staff in there who has a damn clue what they're doing, because Urban Meyer did not. From the first day he stepped in, he didn't have a clue how to coach in the NFL. Zero. He didn't even belong there. He never should have gone there, but he wanted to try to prove it. And, Nick Saban gets criticized for his tenure in Miami. Good Lord, he looked like Newt Rockney or Vince Lombardi compared to that moron. I mean, good Lord.
Nick Saban had him in the playoffs, did he not? Did he not?
Well, no. They had a
close.
9-7 first year. In his second year, the quarterback got hurt. And you know how that goes. If the quarterback gets hurt, it's the same deal with B.O.B. I mean, they had that happen to him in Houston. And then even when, of course, Deshaun Watson was healthy his last year, they didn't have a good team. But we've seen that happen. Very few times do you have a Bill Belichick, and that's why Belichick is the greatest of all time, where Tom Brady tears his ACL and then Matt Castle comes off the bench and you win 11 games. But ironically, they still didn't make the playoffs because it was so difficult that year. But again, that doesn't happen often. Usually when you lose your starting quarterback, like the San Francisco 49ers and like others, when they lost Garoppolo, usually last year, it usually ends up being a disaster because you end up with a losing record.
Well, let's get a break in. When we come back, going to wrap up hour one of Talking Ball, 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Still looking around for accidents this morning. We found a couple on private property, but they have not been causing problems for traffic, and they also have been no injuries, so we pass right over them. You be careful, getting some drizzle, so we're definitely going to have some wet streets to deal with. Are you over 35 and overweight? 7 different hormones can make it impossible for you to lose weight. Find out with a free quiz at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Wake up, fellas. We finally here. Indianapolis. Now we just got to find the stadium.
The Drive is on the road to Indianapolis for the national championship game between the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Georgia Bulldogs.
Remember, boys, no points for second place.
The Drive in Indianapolis is brought to you by Woody Anderson Ford, home of the 5-star experience. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Rise Real Estate, and Adams, we know great homes. Bob Wallace Appliance, your one-stop shop for appliances, serving you since 1978. Eagle Masonry and Insulation, we'll save you money. And by Chapman Realty, over 30 years of experience, online at chapmancommercialrealty.com. Listen to the full coverage right here on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
If you need a car, McCurry Motors is ready to put you in a quality vehicle, and in-house financing is available. If you have a job, McCurry Motors will work with you even if you have a bankruptcy, divorce, or bad credit. Visit McCurrySaysYes.com. Every car comes with a warranty, and they report to the credit bureau. With 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens, call 256-230-0232, or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville. Call 256-713-0575.
Here in the South, we like our traditions, like Alabama football and tailgating on fall Saturdays. And the best way to start your tailgate? Visit Brooks & Collier to see North Alabama's largest selection of premium grills and smokers. Big Green Egg, Blaze, and Traeger. Everything you need for that perfect tailgate. Check out our rubs and seasonings. We have a full wall to please any taste palate. Visit Brooks & Collier at 813 Meridian Street or at brooksandcollier.com. An Alabama tradition for 75 years. Roll Tide.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey, Wes. Our company, Fleming Roofing and Restoration, specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th-generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10-plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey, Wes, we show up.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out, or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
At Mr. Sparky, we're America's on-time electrician. Flickering lights and hot switches can be annoying, but they can also signal a major problem, or worse, an electrical emergency. So play it safe and leave it to the experts at Mr. Sparky. Trust our team of professional, clean, and friendly electricians. We'll get it done right and get it done safely.
You don't have to put up with any malarkey. Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Independently owned and operated, licensed in the respective state or county.
Hey,
Hey folks, this is Arthur Seaton, Managing Partner at University Kia, here letting you know we are proud supporters of Madison Academy football. Stop into the University Kia today and shop our large selection of new Kias, including the all-new Telluride 8-passenger SUV, the stylish new K5, and sporty new Seltos. Visit universitykia.com to view all our great offers and get pre-approved in minutes so you can drive home your new Kia today, because we want to see you in a Kia. Go Mustangs!
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com.
And welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. It is our Thursday edition of Talking Ball. 256-576-4977. That is the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. You can get in on the show this morning. If you want to, we've been talking a lot about the SEC championship game leading into this year's national championship game, because it is obviously a rematch. And that also means Jamison Williams will have to probably be a huge factor in this game. He talked about yesterday how Georgia defended him after.
I wouldn't say it affected us. I guess they try to play a little over the top. That's all we've seen. We've seen some extra defenses. That was pretty much it, though. So a little extra over the top.
That was how Georgia chose to defend them and he after John Mechie went out in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, and he still made a vertical big play for a touchdown where he was able to run by the corner and safety. He has game-changing speed. Now, they weren't able to really get him in the open field against Cincinnati. Cincinnati did a great job defending him, holding him to 7 catches for 62 yards. I thought their tackling was outstanding and their coverage. Sauce Gardner had him some, and, of course, I think maybe a couple of times, and maybe I'm not even sure he recorded a catch. Sauce is a really good player. But, again, he's going to be a big factor in the game. They're going to scheme up some ways to get him the football. He's just going to come down to winning one-on-ones, man. And if they do double him, it's going to give the tight ends, the Jaleel Billingsleys, the Cam Latu's, the Ja'Cory Brooks, the Trayshawn Holden, Javon Baker. They're going to be guys, that are going to get opportunities to make plays. And so it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out without John Mechie for the whole game this time. I don't want to forget Slade Bolden.
Right.
Because Slade basically closed out the SEC championship game with that 24-yard catch. So it's going to be fascinating to watch and see how Alabama attacks Georgia this time.
All right, we'll talk more about that. We got a couple days before we really delve into that. One college football note, though, and it is good news, and it's news that we've kind of been longing to see. Connor Neighbors has a new job.
Well, it's he's just
new, but different.
I'll just use the George Jefferson mantra. Moving on up. That's what he's done at Louisiana. Now he is the new head of strength and conditioning for football there. So congratulations to one of the best to ever do it at Huntsville High, Connor Neighbors, a guy that became an integral part of LSU football as a fullback and special teams captain as well for the Tigers. And then after a brief pro career, started his ascent up the ladder in the strength and conditioning world of college football, Scott. And now really in just a 2 to 3 short years with the Louisiana Cajuns, couple years there, he's moved up to number 1 on the totem pole. He was a big part in 2019 of Ed Ogeron's strength staff that helped them win a national championship with Joe Burrow. but now running his own show already. So huge kudos to him. And, of course, his older brother Wesley still on that staff right now at Louisiana as safeties coach. We'll see if he's going to move on up there on that staff and stay, or maybe get a Power 5 opportunity. But both of those young guys as coaches that are really still early in their careers, already making major waves and doing a great job.
All right, so if you are sitting at home and you want to journey up to Indianapolis and be a part of the festivities in Indianapolis, what is it going to cost you to head up there? According to TickPick.com, as of yesterday, Drew, the average purchase price for an entry into the national championship game is $1,000.
Oh.
But that is a 28% decrease from what it was before Georgia and Alabama was set as the matchup. It's also 14% less expensive than the average price to last year's national championship game, because last year, remember, it was
COVID,
limited tickets. Yeah. It was hard to get there.
A disaster.
The average get-in price, this is just to get you in the door, is $541 to Monday's game in Indianapolis. Last year, it started as $1,000 between Ohio State and Alabama. But this year marks the first time that a national championship game in college football will be played in the Midwest.
Yeah. Going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be frozen tundra. Luckily, it'll be inside.
Yeah. They've tried the Super Bowl a couple times, playing it in, they did it once in Detroit, and they did it once in New Jersey at the new MetLife Stadium.
I remember the one in Detroit. Thank goodness that one was inside. I think there was an ice storm that day.
But can you see college football playing? I'm trying to think of other domed. I mean, there's Indianapolis in the Midwest.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, they could go to Detroit if Detroit did bid on it. But it's the first time that it's been taken away from the Rose Bowl, Fiesta, Sugar, Orange, all those have in common warm climate areas.
Yes, they do. No doubt about it. It's going to be in the land of fruits and nuts next year, I think, in Los Angeles. So joy to the world for that. If they have it, because right now, I mean, they may lose
that's
the
the other
Super Bowl
big story
due to their stupidity over there. But
we'll see. NFL
that'd be great. Already canceling the Grammys again, but who gives a rat's ass about that? I don't. But I mean,
some people do.
Just vote on it and release it, whatever. And then
the story is the NFL has contacted.
Yeah, they're contacting
Dallas
other
Arlington, Jerry's World,
locations,
and has said, "Hey, if the COVID-19 pandemic shifts the way they think it is, and California continues to reduce capacity, continue to have restrictions." That they're looking at other venues to host the Super Bowl. Arlington has said, Jerry's World, AT&T Stadium has said, we want it. If it doesn't work out, we're ready for it. Give it to us. We want it. No restrictions, no limited capacity. The Super Bowl will roll on as it should. It's supposed to be in, I believe, SoFi Stadium out there in home of the Chargers and everything out there.
And the Rams. Don't forget the Rams. Yep. The Chargers are kind of an afterthought, but
And the Chargers and Rams out there. And Drew is right. There's obviously it does not look like it probably will end up in California.
Well, if not, it's ridiculous. But I mean, if they're that stupid and they want to lose the Super Bowl because of idiocy and the common cold, go ahead. But I mean, it's not the first stupid thing happening in California. I mean, everybody knows that.
We ain't gonna be invited by the chamber.
I wouldn't go anyway. I don't really care. No, why would you want to live there? Good
I'm not talking about living.
Or even go now. Why would you even want to go?
If Alabama was playing in the national championship right now,
watching on television, that's what I'm doing. Watching on we're not. We're watching on television. Virtual, brother. Virtual.
Thank you, Indianapolis.
Yes, absolutely. Love those folks. I don't care if it's 20 degrees. I'll be over there when it's 20. Much rather be there. Thanks.
Yeah, that's the other big I guess that's the other big story is the fact that this year's Super Bowl could be on the move. I didn't know the Grammys weren't going.
For the second straight year, they've basically been postponed, canceled, whatever you want to call it. They'll probably just release who won. They could have virtual concerts or whatever.
We are just about done with hour number 1 of Talking Ball coming up here in just a minute. John Schulman's going to join us, UAH Charger head basketball coach. He should be in a good mood. They routed West Florida on Tuesday. Now they're going to take that momentum on the road to Montevallo tonight to take on the Falcons. We'll have that game for you here on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Coach should be up and ready to go. Should be raring to go.
Oh, he's ready.
John Schulman on the other side.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
Tom Luganbill here for Woody Anderson Ford. When I was in the Tennessee Valley, one of the things that impressed me the most was the quality of the people. People like Bobby White and his team at Woody Anderson Ford. And now you can experience the tremendous new service lanes and showroom at Woody Anderson Ford, at Jordan and Sparkman, or just stop by for breakfast or lunch at Henry's Mustang Cafe. And in Madison, visit Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, just south of 72. Like a great college football tradition, always there, Woody Anderson Ford.
WCZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Good morning from the traffic center. Not much to the ride in this morning. We've seen a mix of some sleet and some rain, both here in Huntsville and back through the shoals. So you definitely want to be careful. If you got a long way to go this morning, you may encounter some of that stuff. Right now, though, clean slate. You get 3 pieces of the crispy tender chicken and a buttermilk biscuit for $4.99 at Popeyes. University and Jordan, 72 and Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. We're talking about all forms of winter precipitation as we go through a good majority of the afternoon. Snow, sleet, and freezing rain are all possible across North Alabama and southern Middle Tennessee. Driving conditions could be hazardous through the afternoon, the evening, the overnight, and even as we head into the earliest hours of Friday morning. Temperatures really don't warm up much through Thursday afternoon, highs only climbing into the lower 30s. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Heads up, sports bettors. Right now you can try VSiN All Access free for 30 days with no credit card required. Visit vsin.com/free month to sign up now.
2 Saturday NFL games on the final weekend of the regular season. The Chiefs a 10-point favorite on the road against the Broncos, and the Cowboys -7 at the Eagles. Golf, the Century Tournament of Champions gets underway today in Hawaii. Justin Thomas enters as the odds-on favorite at +800. John Rahm at +900 behind him. Then Xander Schauffele at +1,000, and Colin Morikawa and Bryson DeChambeau each at +1,100. College basketball, several in-state matchups tonight, including South Alabama, a 5-point favorite at home against Appalachian State. Troy, a 1-point home favorite against Coastal Carolina, and UAB getting a point on the road against North Texas.
I'm Trey Westerberg, 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Log on today, 977ESPN.com. Welcome to Talkin Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
And just like that, we're welcoming you back to Hour 2 of Talking Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. Time for us to turn our attention to some college basketball. Coming up tonight on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone, the UAH Chargers going to travel to Montevallo to take on the Falcons, and it's going to be a quick turnaround for the Chargers as they were in action on Tuesday. A rather impressive performance against a West Florida squad as the Chargers never trailed in that one and dominated that. But it's time for us to bring in our next guest, courtesy of SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center. They are the proud training providers of the UAH Chargers. They invite you to visit their Saturday sports clinic for all those sports-related injuries. Each Saturday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., visit 4715 Whitesburg Drive. It's the SportsMed Saturday Sports Clinic.
It really is, and the UAH Chargers now 9-5, 2-3 in the Gulf South Conference, trying to get 2 straight GSC wins. And as our next guest says, if they can get one on the road, it's like heaven. But they certainly played exceptional basketball at Spraggins Hall this past Tuesday, 95-74 over a good West Florida team, shooting 63% in the first half as they burn up the nets and shoot nearly 57% for the game. Coach John Schulman, Happy New Year to you, sir. Hope you had a great Christmas, and what a present that game was on Tuesday afternoon.
Well, hopefully you guys are doing well. I do get a chance to see Scott, see you, Drew, from afar. But, no, everything, we got through the break, and, we ended the break with a loss at Lee, and that we knew that was going to be a tough one. And then we were really enthused coming back. You got Alton Leslie, played really good at Lee, and we're all excited. We got different new plans. And then day before we start practice, he tested positive for COVID, so he had to deal with that and all the different protocols. And then we kind of tweaked our offense a little bit, and maybe that was our Christmas present and New Year's present, is we tweaked our offense just a bit. And we had great practices over the break. And then we had a kind of a COVID scare and a little bit of a shutdown, and then got back up and got going, and then had our games canceled. And I think Tuesday night we had some pent-up aggression. We hadn't played in over 2 weeks, and we were dying to play. And if you've heard, if you play, if you practice good, you got a chance to play good, and that's what happened. We had been practicing great, and we played like we practiced. And sometimes if you practice poorly, you play like you practice and get the tail end with. And so it was great to see the guys deserve success and earn success, and now let's see if we can bring it on the road.
Yeah, you mentioned great practices. And we talked to Luke Burnett after the game on Tuesday. He said great practices. Anthony Kamara, his associate head coach, said great practices. Coach, what was it about the practices that was great? And, I think you even alluded to us on Tuesday that it was probably the best that you've had since you've been there at UAH.
Well, we really locked in. I don't think anybody around here is pleased about where we are in league play, and we want to do something about it. And we got plenty of time to do something about it. And we got a really young team, and we kind of caught lightning in a bottle a little bit, and we with the tweaking of an offense just a bit, and all of a sudden we had success in it in practice, and it really just established. It's kind of like establishing a running game in football, and then you're able to pass the ball. And we've got to establish ourselves inside. We got too many good inside guys, and I think that will open up the perimeter for a Luke and a Max. And I think Luke's always thinks he's open on the perimeter, but for a Luke and a Max, we just got to establish ourselves inside, and we did that. And the guys really kind of focused on it and got excited about it, and we've kind of taken it and run with it and having a blast with it.
Yeah, no doubt. And, Coach, speaking of inside presence, I know Daniel Saylor was efficient. He was 4 for 4 his development, I know CJ is a different kind of inside guy. He's more of an undersized 5. But Saylor's development going forward in conference play, I think, is going to be big for you guys.
Well, Saylor's huge. I mean, we got some guys. Here's the deal. It's 2022. It's 2022, and nobody throws the ball inside. Everybody just checks threes and plays on the perimeter, and nobody throws it inside. Well, just to be honest, I'm a little old school, and I like throwing that ball inside, and I like scoring that ball at the rim, and good things happen. It's kind of like, running the football. Nobody really likes running the football until it helps you win games. And so, we just established ourselves inside, and we got Taylor who can score it in there. CJ surprisingly can score the ball in there. He doesn't think he's a post guy, but we just kind of trick him and tell him that he's a perimeter guy who can score the ball in there. And then Chaney can really score the ball inside, and Dodd can really score the ball inside. Dane Hardy's got really good size, and Max played the post in high school, and he can score it. And I don't know who on earth can guard Austin Leslie from 3 feet from the basket if you're a perimeter guy. I'm not sure that's happening, and I'm not sure that we shouldn't be taking advantage of that, and we are now. And so I think the kids are really excited about the personality and our identity. Remember, we got a young team. We're starting 3 freshmen. You just don't find an identity after the first 2 games. You got to hunt that identity down, and hopefully we found it.
Coach, whenever Luke Burnett touches that basketball, especially from the outside, and it's a beautiful-looking shot sometimes, what's it like from a coach's perspective seeing him come off a screen and catch that ball and shoot?
Well, you actually, and I've apologized to him a few times. I take it for granted. I expect him. I'm disappointed. I was so mad at him the other day. I ran a really neat little inbounds play for him twice, and he had wide open looks and missed both of them. And I'm looking at him going, come on, man. I mean, you can't make every shot. So that's what you expect. You expect him to make every shot. And it would not shock me. Now, listen, we lost another one Sunday before practice, and a pretty important one, a guy named Chaney Johnson, and he tested positive, so he was out for a few days. And Sunday was a hard day. We're getting ready to play West Florida, who is ranked 22nd in the country, and we've been doing great stuff in practice, and then we lose Chaney, and that was heartbreaking. Well, it was so heartbreaking. Luke Burnett, in live play on Sunday night in practice, probably made 33. And he really did. He had one of those special nights, and you're going, hey, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. Dodd's getting better, and CJ's getting better, and everybody's getting better. And if that dude out there can crank in about 33s on Tuesday, we'll be in great shape. Well, I didn't think he could actually do it. He tried to do it. and so, he gives our team confidence because he can go out there and make 5 or 6 with no problem and feels good about it. And he's a great kid, and he really works on his craft. And, that's for if you want to be good at something, boy, work on your craft because it can take you a lot of places, and it's taken him to having a nice education and taking us to having a nice win. But we just got to continue. We posted Luke up some in practice. So, we're just kind of tweaking and changing and trying to search and find our identity, and I think we've found it on the offensive end. We just got to keep searching. We may try to sneak in another player and play with 6 on the defensive end because nothing we're doing right now is working great.
Well, what's Chaney's availability then for today?
Well, just if you have a good thermometer, if you've got a good thermometer, we need it. One that just reads 98.6 or whatever the normal range is. If he is fever-free today, then we're hoping to see him on that court, number 31 on that court tonight. If he's fever-free and symptom-free, he'll have a mask on, which will help his look. It really won't help his play. Austin had a tough time breathing the other night in his mask, but Austin's out of his mask today. Dylan's out of his mask today. Chaney, if fever-free, he'll be playing with the mask on today and Saturday, and he'll be done with his mask on Sunday, and we're not complaining. It's just what these kids got to go through now.
Yeah, it really is. It's unfortunate, but they got to go through it to get on the floor. But, Coach, I wanted to talk about depth, too, because depth is very important during conference play. You use some of that without Chaney Johnson against West Florida on Tuesday, and he came off. I've seen him come off the bench already playing for you guys and make shots and make plays. But talk about Dane Harding in the game he had.
Well, you don't want to have favorites on a team, and everybody thinks my favorite should be Max, and it's definitely not Max. Dane Harding, if you can't love Dane Harding, something's like wrong with you. He is the nicest young man. He doesn't say boo. And all we've done with him, he's played the 2-thumb this year, the 3-thumb, the 4-thumb, and the 5-thumb. Chaney goes out, hey, Dane, you got to play the 4. Okay. Hey, Dane, you got to play some 5. Okay. And, yesterday in practice, what he did yesterday in practice, we dummied a lot of stuff. And he went from the 4 because hopefully we're getting Chaney back, and he's playing a lot of 3 and 5. Well, those are two completely different positions. And he went out there and did it perfectly. The guy's got an amazing brain. He's got the ability to shoot it. He's going to be able to score the ball in the post. He knows his limitations defensively, so he never gets out of position. The guy is really a special guy. He's a special kid. And you talk about a coach's kid. That dude's a coach's kid, and he wants to be a good player. And when he gets his body right, he's still a young guy. When he gets his body right, and I think he's going to see that after this year, and I think he'll spend the whole spring getting his body right. That dude's going to be a monster. And he's got great size. He really shoots it. And he is a tough dude. He doesn't fear the moment whatsoever. He embraces it and loves being in that moment. God, I don't want to call him my favorite because he better be Patrick Harding's favorite. But if you can't love Dane Harding, something's wrong with you. And I think Dylan's probably adopted. Not just kidding. All right, but those two. What Dylan has done, and I'm going to talk about Dylan. What Dylan has done is he's embraced a role that is pretty daggone valuable with the young team. You don't ever see the bench and on film that Dylan's not talking to our young kids and helping out those kids and letting them know what's going on because he's been through the wars. So the Harding brothers have been very, very important to UAH basketball.
Coach, are we staying with the beard look for tonight's game with Montevallo?
They shot 57%, man.
Yeah.
I told CJ, while we're practicing over Christmas, and we had come back from Christmas, and CJ just looked different, man. He was competitive, and he just looked different, like I said, in those practices. And I said, CJ, I don't know what it is about you, but whatever it is, we're going to keep on doing the same thing. And I was like, maybe it's your beard. Maybe it's your beard. He was like, Coach, I got to shave. I said, you ain't shaving, son. You are not shaving. You look meaner, tougher, more competitive. Maybe it's your beard. You're not shaving. CJ, you ain't shaving. He looked at me and said, if I ain't shaving, you ain't shaving. I said, all right, I'll make a rule. None of us are shaving. I made nothing. Nobody shaves. Well, thank God my wife wasn't in there because she'd have put a stop to that in a heartbeat. I actually saw somebody before the game. I saw David Richardson, what a great friend and a fan before the game, and he looked at me with my so-called beard. He was like, God, do you feel okay? It looks like you got COVID or something. I was like, I don't have COVID. I just look like a bum right now. But that's okay. Listen, I love our team. We're together. We're in a great frame of mind. And if everybody wants to go with a beard, heck, I'll go with the beard. I don't care what I look like. I'm married, and I don't think she really cares that much either.
Well, talk about this challenge going on the road. We've already talked about, you've said getting road wins is like heaven. Montevallo, Danny Young, been there for as long as I can remember. It's a tough place to play, but headed to see them to face the Montevallo Falcons tonight, Coach.
Well, they're 4-2 in the league. So if we want to get back in the race, we got to take care of business on the road. It's the next step. If this team wants to do something special, it's the next step. And so, you got to take baby steps, and we took a gigantic step on Tuesday. Can we take the next step and go on the road? We were close. Just to be honest, we were close. That, we should have won the game at Delta State. We should have won the game at MC. Led with a minute to go in both of them. Hopefully we've taken the next step, and hopefully when things get a little hairy down there tonight, we'll throw that thing inside and get fouled and go score that ball and go get a rebound. And but I really like, just be honest, tough, hard-nosed football teams have no problem winning on the road because they grind out first downs in the fourth quarter, and they're able to do that. Tough, hard-nosed basketball teams are able to throw that ball inside, score the ball inside, and then when they start doubling, let's pitch that thing out there to Luke and Max, and now they shoot wide-open threes, and now you got a complete basketball team. I can't even tell you, Austin Leslie, we've moved from a 2 to a 1, and he's brought us so much energy at the 1, and we're just in a good spot right now. We're really excited about playing today, and listen, we don't have a lot of time now. We play today, and we come back tonight, and we got to get ready to play shorter on Saturday, but this is the grind of the college basketball season, and after almost being shut down for COVID, we're just excited to be in the grind.
I would think that's the exciting part. These kids wanted to play. They were raring to go against West Florida, and I'm sure they're raring to go as you travel tonight to Montevallo to take on Danny Young and the Falcons, and you'll hear that game courtesy of Steve Moulton and Scott Tyson on ESPN 97.7 The Zone. Coach, it's always great to catch up and talk UAH hoops with you. Safe travels. Hopefully the weather's not going to be a factor here. The Chargers can get one of these precious road wins tonight to go to 10-5 and get to 500 in the Gulf South Conference.
Yeah, that sounds good, Drew. I ain't going to lie to you. That sounds good, but we just got to go take care of our business. We got to go earn it and deserve it. And if we earn it, deserve it, it'll happen.
All right, Coach. Well, best of luck tonight, and we'll catch up with you later.
All right, sounds good. Take care. Thanks, guys.
All right. That's UAH head basketball coach John Shulman. Today's interview brought to you, of course, by SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, the official training providers of the UAH Chargers. Give them a call today, 256-881-5151, to experience that SportsMed difference. SportsMed Orthopedic Surgery and Spine Center, dedicated to providing care that improves lives. So the coach is not shaving tonight. He's going to look rough again. So we'll see how long this lasts. Hopefully it propels good things, though, because if a UAH gets a win tonight, they get a win on shorter on Saturday. 4-3 in conference play looks a whole lot more impressive than
yeah, if they can get to the two straight wins, you'd be 11-5, 4-3 in the league on a run here.
Yep.
With 3 straight wins. So that's a big opportunity tonight to get that second straight win at Montevallo. Montevallo, a lot of close games this year. 6-8, but 4-2 in the GSC. Danny Young, a veteran coach. So it's going to be interesting. And hopefully the Chargers can get a big win. But I know we need to talk some more hoops. Need to go on a break when we come back. Blake Lovell, we're going to catch up with him. Southeastern 14, Blue Ribbon basketball, and talk some early SEC hoops, especially Alabama and Auburn, looking like the 2 best teams in the league.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
We continue to roll along in good shape this morning. Haven't found any wrecks, stalls, or traffic signal problems that were causing any major headaches. You be careful on the rest of your trip in. We're going to have a lot of folks in last-minute dash mode. Do you know who to call when you need a heart doctor? You could write this name down so you have it. Dr. Randall Burns is at Huntsville Heart Specialist, where they have the expertise to care for all matters of the heart. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Have you ever found exactly the right new car or truck with the exact features that you want and nothing else? Well, at Woody Anderson Ford, we can promise you just that. Hey, Bobby White back again, and you can now factory order your new Ford today, and you'll get your new car or truck exactly the way you want it. And there's no extra cost to custom order. Plus, you get $1,000 off MSRP on top of any additional factory rebates. This applies to 2021 F-150, Explorer, Ranger, and Expedition. It's a win-win with a custom order at Woody Anderson Ford. You get the colors, the features, and the options that fit your life. Plus, you get notified when it's built, shipped, and ready to deliver. Listen, buying a new car or truck is likely the second largest investment you'll ever make. So why settle? Get exactly what you want with a custom factory order today and get $1,000 off MSRP. See how at WoodyAndersonFord.com or at the corner of Jordan Lane and Sparkman Drive. Hope to see you soon.
Hey there, UAH fans. I'm Morris Lilienthal. If you've been injured in an accident, visit morristheattorney.com right now to get the help you need. Don't let the insurance company take advantage of you. I have personally helped over 4,000 clients with their injury claims, and I'm ready to help you too. My firm, Martinson & Beeson, has been helping clients for over 80 years, and we have received over 300 5-star Google reviews. Get in touch with me right now by visiting morristheattorney.com. There's no charge for our meeting. Again, that's morristheattorney.com. Look forward to helping you. Go Chargers.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
In 2 years, you can have a career that makes sense for you. Skill up and earn a living working with your hands, or work on the front line of computer information systems and cybersecurity. Get a degree that lets your healing heart take care of people. Help design and manufacture the most advanced cars, machinery, or even aerospace components. In just 2 years, great careers are within your reach at Drake State Community and Technical College. Visit drakestate.edu to apply.
For over 20 years, Audio Insight has been designing and installing systems that integrate today's technology into homes and businesses all over the Tennessee Valley. At Audio Insight, they don't provide one-size-fits-all system solutions. Instead, they design your system from the ground up based on your valuable input. By working closely with you, Audio Insights can ensure that your system will meet your performance, budget, and aesthetic needs. Visit the showroom at 1229 Putman Drive off Jordan Lane and experience some of their fine products firsthand. Visit audio-insight.com to learn more.
Kerry Rosenblum here with Rosenblum Realty, and we appreciate our MA family. Football season is back again, and we're here for your real estate needs. We've been also doing rental properties for many years. You may have a home that you need to lease out. You don't need the headaches. You need somebody to take care of it, make sure the repairs are done, keep the rent coming in, and screen the tenants. We can do all that for you at Rosenblum Realty, where we do property management services, or you can find a good home to rent as well. Call us at 256-539-9501. Put our years of experience to work for you.
Hey there, Bob Baumhauer here. Baumhauer's Victory Grill is your big game headquarters all fall long. And with our new fall features, every day is game day at Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Try our pregame starters, including our homemade onion strings, always fresh hot lips, and our all-new Buffalo Dippin' Chicken appetizer. Our main events include incredible chicken, fish, and shrimp selections, always featuring local Alabama Gulf seafood. And don't forget our Sunday Blitz, 11 to 6. Baumhauer's Victory Grill. Legendary fun, legendary food.
Gunner's Landing is one of the Tennessee Valley's finest golf experiences. Just 35 minutes from downtown Huntsville, Gunner's Landing's 18-hole championship jewel is open to the public 7 days a week. Located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, Gunner's Landing offers you a golf experience like no other. With beautiful Lake Gunnersville views throughout the round, Gunner's Landing is golf the way nature intended. Gunner's Landing's Club Repair Shop offers a full range of services, including re-gripping and adjusting the lofts and lies of your clubs, even putters. Since the work is done in-house, your clubs will be returned to you in a timely manner. Unmatched in the North Alabama area, it is Gunner's Landing. Schedule your tee time today at gunnerslandinggolf.com. That's gunnerslandinggolf.com.
It's Alabama and Georgia for the national championship.
I think it's pretty obvious that you're very, very proud of, our team.
Listen to all the coverage and game right here.
Hopefully we play well enough to beat a great Bama team.
On 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN, The Zone. We were talking Gulf South Conference basketball with UAH head coach John Shulman before the break. We're going to talk about SEC basketball. We tipped off the iceberg in the first hour when we were talking about Alabama's win over Florida on the road last night. Remember, that was an 83-70 win by Alabama. 18th ranked Tennessee rebounds from that loss against Alabama. They pick up their first SEC win last night at home against Ole Miss, 66-60. If you look at the SEC standings right now, there are two teams 2-0 in the league. and that is the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers. Both of them right now sitting undefeated in the league. There are a couple other ones that are 1-0 right now, several of them. Vanderbilt, Mississippi State, Texas A&M are all 1-0 in the league, but really the premier teams right now after 2 games in the conference, but it's no joke because they've been premier teams pretty much so far this season, Alabama and Auburn, and we've highlighted it that on the 11th there is a showdown in Tuscaloosa between Auburn and Alabama, both of them probably inside the top 10, if not one knocking on the door, the other one inside the top 10 by the time that happens. What a phenomenal night that'll be, because that'll be across the country premier basketball lineup. And like you said, we have not had that discussion in a long time.
Yeah, since the solid days of Wimp Sanderson and Sonny Smith, where both programs were really good going to the tournament. And, right now, Auburn has had a huge bounce back from a year ago where COVID kind of and injuries and guys are moving on to the NBA hurt their program. But they reloaded in the transfer portal. They're outstanding right now. And they're huge. Got a lot of NBA talent. Alabama under Nate Oates in year 3, looking strong so far. So there's going to be a gargantuan matchup coming up, as you said, next week on Tuesday, January the 11th, and we're going to discuss that and some early SEC talk with our next guest. He does a great job. He's the assistant editor for what really is the Bible in college basketball, the Blue Ribbon Yearbook. Also works with Chris Lee very closely for Southeastern 14, where they cover not just basketball, but the Southeastern Conference as a whole. But they do a great job because both of those guys are hoop heads. And Blake has been a longtime fixture with us, as has Chris. And Blake is with us now on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Blake, I hope you had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. It's great to reconnect. How are you doing this morning?
Yeah, good to talk to you as always, guys. Same to you. And it's been an interesting start to the SEC play, but quite a year thus far for the league. So
it has been quite a start, and you look at it, and we've been talking about Alabama and Auburn extensively because, well, obviously they're right here, and they both have been playing well. Outside of those 2 teams, is there one other one that has kind of caught your attention early on in the league?
Well, I think there are 2, and for different reasons. I think one is LSU. I didn't expect LSU to be as good as they are. I think they're, I can remember, guys, maybe we talked in the summer at some point. I mean, I went to the summer thinking, all right, I thought Alabama and Auburn might be the 2 best teams in the league naturally, like many do. I reverted back to probably going with Kentucky. But, the way things have played thus far, I think LSU's been the biggest surprise without question. I mean, you think about all those guys they lost last season, but they were a very offensive-minded team, right? Who on this planet would have expected that we'd be sitting here talking about LSU potentially being the best defensive team in the country right now, just given what we've seen under Will Wade there. But that's what they are. So they've been the biggest surprise from a good standpoint, I think, for everyone. Arkansas, I think it's probably been the other way. Although, I'll tell you guys, going the season, I was not as high on Arkansas as other people, and I think it was just like, are you telling me that it's just going to be that easy to replace Moses Moody and Justin Smith? And I think we're starting to see, despite their 9-0 start or whatever it was, it's not that easy. And I think that they're a very interesting team to watch here moving forward, because they've lost 2 games thus far now in SEC play, Mississippi State and Vanderbilt, which one of those is a very winnable game, I think, against Vanderbilt. But the back half of their SEC schedule, if you look it up, there is no team in the conference playing a tougher back half of the schedule than Arkansas. So they've got to find a way to get some wins here. They're going to be heading in the wrong direction in a hurry.
Well, and I know you're very close to the Vanderbilt program, and we know what a rebuild it has been for Jerry Stackhouse, but how big a win was that for them to go to Arkansas and get a huge road win?
Chris and I were laughing. I feel like Vanderbilt has played at Arkansas every year since I don't even know what administration picked someone in the 70s or something, I guess. But it seems like they play there all the time, and it seems like they do not win there very much. And I think even for an Arkansas team, like we said, that's struggling a little bit, just to win there, period. Remember, this is a Vanderbilt team that's not that far removed from not winning a game in the league, and also, winning whatever, 2, 3, 4, whatever it's been in recent years. So just to get a road win in the SEC, I think is a huge deal, and especially to get it at Arkansas, which is, traditionally one of the toughest places to play in the conference. So I think that is it's huge. And, we were laughing about this too. That BYU win, I probably didn't get enough credit, and I think the reason is timing and location, right? They played and beat BYU, which is a really good team. They beat them 2 days before Christmas, and they did it in Hawaii. So there's not a lot of people that probably, put a lot of stock into that. But that was a huge win. And now to come back and win at Arkansas, I thought Vanderbilt would be better coming to the season. I thought their ceiling would probably be maybe 8th, 9th best team in the league, maybe on that NCAA tournament bubble if everything goes according to plan. But we always say when you have a player that can just take over a game, and maybe that's what's missing for Arkansas. They have J.D. Notae, but not to have a Moses Moody type. But Vanderbilt has Scottie Pippen, and when you have a player like that, it just makes things so much easier, right? And we've seen that with Alabama and stuff and Auburn over the years. Like it can change the game so quickly. And I think having someone like him on the floor, now he's got a better supporting cast around him. They're getting better, and I think that's all you can hope for right now at Vanderbilt.
Tennessee has gotten off to a good start. They dropped a tough one at Alabama without a couple players, but they rebound the other night to get a win. What does Rick Barnes' squad look like going into SEC play?
Did we lose you, Blake? I think we may have. We'll have to go back and get Blake back on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. I think we lost him there. You're talking about Rick Barnes in Tennessee, Scott.
They're 10-3 right now, 1-1 in conference play. That loss to Alabama, they were without two. They were without their best freshman and their veteran. So I'm wondering what Tennessee looks like.
They didn't have Fulkerson and Kennedy Chandler against Alabama, but they had them last night, and yet it was we got Blake Level back from Southeastern 14. Blake, that was a grinder of an OT game for the Vols, who look like they're one of the better defensive teams also in the SEC. A really tough basketball team in the mold of Rick Barnes, but a win at home, tougher than expected, but they get the job done in overtime against the Rebels.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Not sure what happened. But, I think the defense, right? I mean, that's what we always talk about with this team. It's just they're going to play defense to the level that they have. And I think that even without, E. Pond, we talked about him a lot over the years, right? And even without him, this is still an elite defensive team. And I think you mentioned it, Drew, talking about Kennedy Chandler, I think that he is just, man, he's really good. And I think that, as they go, he goes. But I think now we're starting to sort of see, we've seen Vescovi step up, right? Like we've seen some of these other guys step up for Tennessee. And I think that's going to be the key to how far they go is how these other guys, continue to play offensively, because I think this is a good offensive team. It's not an elite offensive team, but when they're as good as they are defensively, sometimes that doesn't matter. And, I think that they're a very interesting team to watch here moving forward, because they've got some opportunities coming up. They got some tough games coming up. They're at LSU, at Kentucky, I think, over the next week or so. So those are going to be a big challenge for this Tennessee team. But I think Kennedy Chandler is good enough to get them through that. And I think their defense is good enough to kind of give them an opportunity to really have a chance, at a league title this year.
Well, let's get down to the two in-state schools, Alabama and Auburn. What a start for Bruce Pearl. What a start for Nate Oates and company. Let's break down Alabama, because they played last night against Florida. Defensively, Alabama looking good last night against the Gators. This team has played a lot of high opponents. Gonzaga got a win. This Alabama team's legit.
Oh, they are. And I think, you mentioned the defense. I think, as you've gone throughout the season, that's been one thing I've looked at and been like, all right, this team is not as good as they were defensively last year, but you can still see the pieces there to where when they play to their capabilities, they can be a very good defensive team. And I think that's what they have to continue to kind of, push forward on, is that side of the ball. Because we have no worries, right, guys, about their offense. Now, the free throw shooting, it's amazing. I'm sure Nate Oates has to be thrilled for them to shoot 84% from the free throw line. It makes things a lot easier, doesn't it? When you can go 16 and 19 from the free throw line instead of some of these other games they've had with having been able to make shots. But when they can force turnovers, Florida turns it over 20 times. When they can, take advantage of their opportunities when they get to the free throw line, those two things can make the game so much easier. And, of course, last night, what was it? They grabbed, I think, 20 offensive rebounds. That doesn't hurt either. So I think that this is a team certainly, I came into the season thinking that Jaden Shackelford was my pick for the preseason SEC Player of the Year. Maybe he's not right there just yet, but I still think that with this guard, group that they have, it's still among the best, not just in the SEC, but when they play to their best, they can be among the best in the country. And then you see some of these other guys stepping up. I think that Alabama's going to be just fine, but yes, I think it's like you mentioned, it's like everybody's going to sit here, and I'm sure the non-Alabama fans are going to point out, well, they lost to Iona and Davidson and games like that to a struggling Memphis team, but still, I mean, how many teams have beaten Gonzaga and Houston this year, right? Like, and it's just, beating Tennessee, win at Florida. It's just not a lot of teams that have that kind of resume. So I think Alabama's sitting in a good position, and certainly they'll continue to tweak some of those things moving forward.
Well, yeah, I think they played as tough a schedule as any. I mean, those three teams you just mentioned are still all capable of, from their leagues, making the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
We know that Memphis has got 2 or 3 pros on their team if they can figure some things out with Penny Hardaway and Larry Brown. But I will say this for Auburn, a huge team, Blake. They have reshaped themselves through the transfer portal. A lot of times you wonder about the chemistry, but it seems like they've been able to hit the ground running. Just a tremendous start to this season and to conference play for Bruce Pearl's Tigers.
Yeah, you said, Drew, that's the thing I always repeat is like, we make our preseason predictions and we wonder what we could see with these teams. But with the transfer portal being so prevalent now, right, you never know what the chemistry is going to look like. And I think that makes it so hard to predict different teams and know exactly how things are going to play out. But, I mean, clearly, Auburn has swung and hit a home run here on the guys that they brought in. I mean, it's just, we've seen what Walker Kessler can do. I think there were certainly high expectations bringing him in, but you talk about just completely changing the dynamic of how you play. When you can put Walker Kessler and Jabari Smith out there and do what those two guys can do, it's just you're not going to find many better in college basketball. And I think, that's where a guy like Wendell Green, too. I mean, he has just been, he has been a lot of fun to watch. And I know there have been comparisons and stuff to Jared Harper. I hate making comparisons because I don't think it's, fair sometimes necessarily to either player. But I think for Green, like, he's been exactly what they've needed. And I think that's been a huge part of them having this success thus far. And, you look at this team and just how they're made up. It's just like, and I always say this too, like when you look at teams, there are not a lot of weaknesses sometimes. I don't think you can just point out a glaring weakness on this Auburn team because they're great defensively. We know offensively when they get going, they're very hard to stop. They're good in so many different areas. And I think that they're just going to continue to move right along here and have a lot of success. And like you said, boy, that game next Tuesday there in Tuscaloosa is going to be a lot of fun between those two.
Yeah, what does that really – I mean, we sit here and just trying to analyze that, not analyze it, but just comprehend it. We've not seen a game that big in the state of Alabama in quite some time when it comes to college basketball. To have the state of Alabama be the epicenter of the college basketball world that night.
Yeah, it's something. And I can remember, guys, probably when Bruce Pearl was hired, everyone sort of expected the turnaround to happen eventually. It took a little time to get there. And, of course, with Alabama, we know kind of what Nate Oates has done since taking the job, just the success they've had. And it's incredible to think about where these two are at. And, when you think about playing styles and those types of things, there's just a lot of similarities with these two. And I think it's going to be, very interesting. And to me, looking ahead, like an early key to that game is going to be, if you're Auburn, you do have Jabari Smith and Walker Kessler and Kessler's ability to impact shots, in the paint. That's going to be a big part of it for Alabama, and that's where I think you're going to have to knock down some shots outside, which, it's not like we think that Alabama can't do that, but they have been very efficient, inside the arc too, even more so efficient than their perimeter shooting this year. So I think that's a big key. How Kessler plays in that game is going to be huge. But, again, when we talk about a guard group, Alabama's depth at guard is something that I think if they can, get going against Auburn, which, by the way, also has a very good group of guards, but I think that's key. You have to have your guys like Quinterly and Shackelford and Davidson and Ellis and all those guys on their game. And I think if they can do that, continue to kind of make those guys run the floor, I think that it's going to be entertaining no matter what, right? Like, it's just going to be a very entertaining college basketball game.
It really is. And the last couple of thoughts from me. This is Blake Lovell, Southeastern 14, also associate editor for Blue Ribbon Basketball. Alabama headed to Missouri to take on Quanzo Martin on Saturday. What's been Missouri's problem so far? They are struggling 6-7. They didn't play due to COVID issues against Mississippi State, but what's been the Tigers' issue, the biggest one in your mind?
Well, it's to me, guys, we talked about the three-point shooting, right? And
Yes.
Alabama and Auburn have had a lot of success with that over the years, but unfortunately for Missouri, when you're ranked 357th out of 358, shooting 23.8% from three, let's think about that, right? Like we think about the game like before the three-point line and everything, and like just you're taking one element of the game completely out of it if you're Missouri, and that's really hard to do because if you can't do anything from the three-point line, you have to be so good from inside the arc that you can make up for it. But again, you're still exchanging twos for threes sometimes, and they're not an elite team offensively outside of the three-point shooting either. So that's been the issue. They just can't score enough consistently. And you've seen some of these games. They've just gotten thumped by Kansas and Illinois and Kentucky. And I think this is one that, again, if we're talking about Missouri that has struggled offensively, you're going to get a solid defensive effort, I think, from them just based on Quanzo Martin's coaching. But, if you're telling me how hard it's going to be for Missouri to try to keep up from an offensive standpoint with a team like Alabama, I think that's going to be a real challenge.
Mm-hmm. And then my final question for you, the showcase game on Saturday is going to be LSU. You already mentioned Will Wade and those guys, how good they are defensively. They are hosting Tennessee. This should be an outstanding matchup and really a game that's going to be a hard-nosed battle, probably played in the 60s, much like we saw LSU when they dedicated the court to Dale Brown, winning 65-60 over UK.
Yeah, I don't know what the over-under is right now, guys. Take the under. I think that's unless it turns into a traditional SEC free throw shooting contest, which we know can happen sometimes. But look, statistically, you could have the two best teams in the country right here defensively, and I think that when you put that together on the court, that's what you would expect. You would expect this to be a grinded-out type of game, and one that again, I think that these two teams, this is a huge game, like you said. It's a huge swing game because whoever wins this game, man, you are feeling really good about yourself, knowing that you still got a pretty challenging SEC schedule ahead of you. But if LSU can come out and get this win too, coming off the win against Kentucky, man, you talk about a nice little start to SEC play for LSU. But I think this is one, again, it's a toss-up because I think you got two teams that play somewhat similar, especially when you look at their defensive numbers. But, man, I think it's hard to believe, isn't it? I think LSU's a better defensive team than Tennessee, and the fact is, I think that could be the difference here. But it's another one that, stylistically, I think LSU-Tennessee is going to be a little bit different than what you'll see with Alabama and Auburn. I think there's going to be a little bit of a difference there.
SEC play underway, and who better to catch up with than Blake Lovell. Blake, great knowledge and good stuff. We look forward to connecting with you and Chris throughout this basketball season. But let everybody know how to follow you guys' coverage over at Southeastern 14. And I know you're doing a great job with Blue Ribbon.
Yeah, I always appreciate it, guys. Like you said, southeastern14.com. That's all of our SEC stuff over there. You can check out all of our basketball, baseball, football stuff we've got. So, yeah, we're doing, basketball-wise, we're doing some daily videos. So you can check those out on there. And, everything else, you can just follow me on Twitter at @BlakeLovell.
Thanks, Blake.
Thanks, Blake.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Blake Lovell with us there. Some good stuff on SEC basketball. Good talk there. It really is. It's going to be an exciting – and the thing is, we're only 2 games into the conference season. We've got a long ways to go.
16 more.
And if it's this good in the middle, and the end, wow, it's going to be exciting. Let's get that final break in. When we come back here, tomorrow's headlines today.
You're listening to Talkin Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Well, Well, we almost made it through accident-free. Got one 565 eastbound now near Research Park. They had that one reported with injuries, but I think HPD just canceled HIMSY on it. Had a vehicle spin out and hit the wall there. Everything else looks pretty good at this point. Looks like everybody else is going to be in very close to on time. 2030 Fast Track can make your clothes fall off. Greg lost 92 pounds in 6 months on the plan. A free hormone quiz will tell you if the program can work for you. 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
When you call most roofing companies, all you'll hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming. At Fleming Roofing and Restoration, we're focused on your needs, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement. Folks around here have trusted Fleming since 1965 for all their residential and commercial roofing needs. And as the area's storm damage experts, Fleming knows all the ins and outs of the insurance claims process. Log on FlemingHSV.com to schedule your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
McCurry Motors is your car and van rental headquarters. You can rent the vehicle you need today. Family in town, sporting event, church function, no matter what your need, McCurry Motors has you covered with a wide selection of cars and vans available for rent. They have 12-passenger Mercedes Sprinter vans, 12-passenger Ford Transit vans, 15-passenger Ford Transit vans, and 15-passenger Chevrolet Express vans. They have 2 locations, Highway 72 in Athens or Max Luther Drive in Huntsville.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
At Progressive, we know there's nothing like the feeling of riding a motorcycle with your crew on the open road. That symphony of engines roaring in perfect harmony. It's a feeling that would be impossible to recreate on the radio. Until now. Hit it, Jerry. Oh, my word. Really, really terrible. Was that a glockenspiel, Jerry? Quote with Progressive and see if you could save with America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. No, Jerry. It's over.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
Katie Britt is a Christian conservative and an Alabama First business leader running for the United States Senate to save the American dream from Joe Biden's socialist agenda. Katie Britt will bring fresh blood and new energy to Washington and fight tirelessly for our conservative Alabama values. Here's Katie Britt.
My faith and relationship with the Lord guide my everyday life. Being pro-life and pro-Second Amendment doesn't make me radical. It makes me American. We have to show strength at the border, and what we are showing as a country right now is total weakness. It is so important that we protect our nation's borders. We are a nation of laws, not a nation of lawlessness. We need somebody that knows how to fight for Alabama, that believes in Alabama.
Katie Britt will fight for our Christian conservative values. Put Alabama first and never apologize for it.
I'm Katie Britt, and I approve this message.
Paid for by Britt for Alabama, Inc.
No representation is made that the quality of legal services to be performed is greater than the quality of legal services performed by other lawyers.
A wise man once said, if you take care of old folks and children, everything in the middle will take care of itself.
Hi, I'm Danny Aldridge, lawyer in Alabama and Tennessee. In the next 20 years, the number of those folks over 65 years of age will more than double. In our golden years, the most important goal is to be treated with dignity and have control over doing what makes you grateful with those you love. At the Aldridge Law Firm and the Legal Town Center, we're dedicated to help you with these goals, and we'll be there when life throws you those inevitable curveballs. Let us assist you with your legal needs, whatever they may be or become. You may reach us by phone at 256-534-3188 or online with Dan at danaldridgelaw.com. Just remember, we're here to help. Whether it's personal injury, wrongful death, fraud and cheat, or estate planning made complete, we're here to help.
This segment of Talkin Ball is brought to you by University Kia, the #1 volume Kia dealer in the state of Alabama. Located online at universitykia.com. It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Welcome back to Talking Ball. We've been talking college basketball. We had Blake Lovell on just a minute ago talking about the SEC, Drew, and the NCAA now actually doing something good. When they do something good, we need to mention that because they don't do a lot of good a lot of the times. They have redone their COVID-19 protocols for college basketball, and they're actually different than the CDC.
Oh,
yeah. So now what they're doing is they're calling vaccinated players now ones that have had the booster shot.
Yeah.
So if you've had the booster shot, they're classifying you as vaccinated if you're eligible for it, because there's been some guys that are not eligible for it or gals because of the time that they got the initial COVID.
The first
yeah, so they got to wait. But those are still considered vaccinated players, even if you've not gotten the booster. If you have gotten the booster and if you are classified as a vaccinated player now, according to the NCAA in basketball, you are exempt from regular testing, which they're hoping will keep players on the sidelines. You are not regulated to quarantine if you've been exposed. Not if you're positive, but if you've been exposed, you're not.
Yeah, because the contact tracing things are what they're doing.
Yes, they're kind of easing that a little bit.
Right.
Okay, so that is the good news. Now, if you have tested positive, the other good news is, and if this would have been in effect for UAH, they wouldn't have to be going through what they're having to go through.
Yes.
If you test positive and after the 5 days, if you test negative, you can return to the court without having to wear a mask. You can come right back to the court. Now, that is different than the CDC. They say you have to mask up for 5 days after leaving isolation. So the CDC and the NCAA are kind of splitting and going in a little different direction when it comes to athletics. The NCAA says an athlete
The CDC doesn't know a damn thing about athletics.
Yep. This is different. The CDC says unvaccinated close contact must quarantine for 5 days. The NCAA says no.
Yeah, go away.
So like I said, when the NCAA does something good, we need to say
laud them.
Yes, we need to laud them. And
not worry about Joe and Fauci. Bye.
Our good friend Ross Dellinger putting this out for Sports Illustrated. So this is in hopes of not seeing what we saw in college football, in the bowl games, where guys could not come back and everything like that. They're kind of easing it up a little bit. So now what you're going to see is we saw a huge conservative effort to get players vaccinated. Now we're going to see that same effort for players to get the booster shot, so they don't have to go through said protocols there. And so it was weird seeing Austin Leslie try to play a college basketball game the other day with a mask on.
What are you doing? I mean,
now the mask, I will say the mask kind of worked its way down a little bit.
You have to be able to breathe. That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it looked a little odd out there, but according now going forward, the NCAA are kind of easing that a little bit.
Finally, hey, sometimes it takes a while for the espresso to step in, man. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it does. Sometimes.
Wake up out there.
That is why the Super Bowl may be headed out of California.
Good. Who cares? Jerry World's better anyway. Get it out of there.
You know what? Would you rather have a Super Bowl? I mean, I don't know. I liked it in Atlanta. It can come back to Atlanta again.
Yeah.
Because I'm all for that.
Yeah. Cookies make you tingle, though, bro.
But it was fun.
It was
and
great.
That is why we are headed to want to remind everyone that we are headed to Indianapolis. We will be doing some special shows on Saturday morning, some special shows on Sunday morning. We'll be doing some special shows. Well, I assume Saturday morning. We'll be doing some shows possibly Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon. I don't know when exactly we'll be doing the shows. But we're going to be doing some special shows Saturday. Going to be doing some special shows on Sunday. We'll be doing a nice big show for everybody on Monday from Indianapolis as we get ready for the national championship game. So it'll be a fun time. We need to get you over to Indy Motor Speedway. I know you're not a huge racing fan, but you need to see the Indianapolis Motor Speedway because it is a gargantuan sight. It's really cool to see.
Well, I mean, one of our resourceful producers, Smokey Mike, he's been to several of the Indianapolis the events, especially the NASCAR event.
Yeah, I've done 2 Brickyard. I've been to there twice.
I think he's been to the Brickyard several times.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Maybe get you to an NBA game.
No.
You just wait.
Unless Kyra Lewis is playing.
You just
Herb
wait
Jones.
and see.
Yeah.
You
Not
wait.
interested. Not interested in part-time player Kyrie Irving finally playing. Ridiculous.
Oh, what about the AP voter that's not voting for Aaron Rodgers for
He's an
MVP?
idiot. An idiot. A freaking idiot. I don't blame Aaron Rodgers for calling him a moron. That's a moron of the year in,
nominee right off the bat for 2022.
Yeah, we have to name our moron of the year from last year, at some point. But yeah, he's definitely on the list for this year. Yeah, that's stupidity.
We'll do that tomorrow. We'll name our moron of the year for 2021 tomorrow. Stay tuned, folks.
Thanks, Blake. Thanks, Coach Shulman.